AEW is building Revolution up way better than WWE is with Wrestlemania. Here are my reasons why I feel that way. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick here. Thanks for joining me this Thursday evening. Let's get right into the claim that I had at the start of the video. Why do I feel like AEW is doing much better than WWE with building what I assume is one of their biggest shows versus WWE's biggest show of the year? Revolution, I would say, is probably the second biggest show of the year behind All In. And then I would say Double or Nothing. Those are probably their top three biggest shows of the year. This is one of them, and they are building it much better than WrestleMania is being built by WWE, and that is their biggest show of the year, the grandest stage of them all is what they like to call it, and it's going to be the blandest stage of them all, is what I like to call it for this year. On the AEW side of things, you've got this right up here. Look at that updated card for Revolution after things happen on Dynamite, which I'll get into covering, or recapping rather, Dynamite in a few minutes here. Look at that card.
Shut up and take my money.
And there was more added to it, but you've got those matches right there. You got MJF and Hangman, Texas Death, FTR Young Bucks tag title match, Tekla and Statlander for the women's title match, Babes of Wrath defending against Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. I like to call them Mega Cross. Continental Championship match, no time limit between Mox and Takeshita. Oh, by the way, 2 out of 3 falls for that women's match. Swerve versus Brody King, Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir, where everyone is banned from ringside, and Willow Nightingale versus Lena Cross just on the kickoff show, the 0 hour for the TBS Championship. And then we had other matches added. We had Darby Allin, returning Roderick Strong, and Orange Cassidy are going to take on the Dogs. We saw a 21-man casino, I think Battle Royal, whatever it is, with Ricochet's national championship up for grabs. And I think there may be one more that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but you get the point. That is a fucking loaded card for Revolution. And I know WrestleMania is being rumored to have 5 or 6 matches each night this year, with a grand total of like 12 matches, which is better than last year, because I think last year there was only 10, 5 each night, and it was a huge drag. But there is no build whatsoever. It's like an empty box of Legos. There's no build to it at all. Whereas AEW is building the Eiffel Tower out of Legos. You buy a box of Legos and it's the Eiffel Tower. It's 5,000 pieces, so much build to a monumental show. And like I said, WrestleMania just feels like that empty fucking box of Legos that you get, and you open it up and you're like, well, what the hell is this? That's what WrestleMania feels like. There is zero build to it. Let's quickly cover Dynamite, and then we'll get into some other pro wrestling news that backs my claim. Look at this, what happened on Dynamite yesterday. The press conference between MJF and Adam Page is the only knockback that I have for this whole episode. Otherwise, it was superb from start to finish. I didn't like how they handled it at the beginning, having it being recorded and up on the Titantron for people to watch. And you heard the crowd kind of show its displeasure. But we did get to see them brawl out at the end of it. And regardless of that, it is being built so well. There are 2 essentially faces of the company, where one of them's heel, one of them's face. They are the company, essentially. They've been here since day one. They both have been champ multiple times now. This is going to be a really, really good match. This alone has a better build than literally anything that we're going to get out of WrestleMania. You saw Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey put on a match that's going to be better than any match at WrestleMania. Holy shit, those 2 can work so well together. They are a natural unit in the ring together. And we saw Kyle Fletcher come out on top, but only by getting assistance from Okada. It wasn't a clean win. I think we will see a rematch at some point. Obviously not at Revolution, because there's a tag match, because Kyle Fletcher is now 1/3 of the Trios champs. But I do think that we are going to see Speedball and Fletcher another rematch at some point. Willow versus Persephone for that TBS championship. Really good match. Persephone is someone that they hired recently, and she showcased herself really well in that match. Yes, she came up short against Willow, but it's still a really good match done by both, and both are very young. Moxley and Claudio versus Takeshi and Hechicero, a really good match. I enjoyed that from start to finish. Dem Bucks versus FTR and Tommaso Ciampa, build right there ahead of their tag title match. And you got Tommaso Ciampa and Mark Briscoe. They aren't on the card for Revolution, but there's build right there with their feud. Then you saw Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy take on Gabe Kidd and David Finlay. David Finlay made the right choice going to AEW. He's already 2-0, and he's being booked really well. Their whole group is being booked really well as they came out on top. Clark Connors came out and got involved. And now that Roderick Strong returned, looked like he was going to join them, and then he turned and attacked them. And now we got that 3-on-3 match that I mentioned earlier, updated Revolution match for the card. So there's so much build. That's just from this past Dynamite. There's stuff that's happened on the last Collision, last week's Dynamite, and for many weeks leading up to this, many episodes of AEW. That is how you build a really good card, and you are not seeing that this year out of WWE. Whereas on the WWE side of it, they are so delusional, so lost, like I said in my last video. You've got this news by Cody Rhodes right here, claiming that he feels like WrestleMania 42 could be the best bell-to-bell show in the event's history. I'm sorry, Cody, but I strongly disagree. I don't even think it'll be better than last year's WrestleMania, and last year's WrestleMania sucked ass. You see the trends. Look at this up here. 2 years ago, it was #WeWantCody. Now it's #NoMoreCody. He just can't catch a break. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a Cody problem and he finds himself in these situations where the fans turn against him. I think he's just got to change his whole thing. He's got to stop being about my dad, these people, this arena, blah, 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 sob story, finish the story. He's been champ a couple of times now. Change it up. Holy shit. Do something different. Be heel. Everybody wants you to be heel and you don't want to do it. That's kind of like what happened in AEW before he left. They wanted you to turn heel and you refused to do so. You don't listen to the crowd. Honestly, I'm going to just go on record and say I think Cody Rhodes is a huge fucking narcissist. And there's the updated downvotes for that match where he reclaimed the title against Drew McIntyre. Over 200,000. I'm pretty sure that's worse than the Jey Uso beating Gunther at WrestleMania last year. I don't think that crossed over the 200,000 downvote. It may be now because it's been almost a full year. This was just last week. That is abysmal by WWE. And this is one of your main stories for one of the main events for, I think, night one. Awful decision. Awful building. They can't even get the graphics right. And apparently there's frustration with the numerous graphic changes of WrestleMania. WrestleVotes Radio and Fightful Select has learned that multiple graphic theme changes is a source of internal frustration. They can't even get the fucking graphics picked. They are so delusional. They are so lost. They can't do anything right. It's so bad that ahead of WrestleMania, apparently ESPN made the decision to drop letter grades from WWE reviews after WWE expressed discomfort, multiple sources told Post-Wrestling. We know that they gave WrestlePalooza a C, and I think that was very generous. That deserved at least a D. And they don't want that for WrestleMania because they know, especially this year, with how bad the build is, how many injuries they have to shuffle around and rewrite stories and all this, they know that if they're lucky, WrestleMania will get a C. Those are all reasons why I feel like it's so much better on AEW's side with building to their pay-per-views. They're building up Revolution way better than WrestleMania is being built by WWE. Now, let's close out the video with some more AEW news. David Finlay, he was asked in an interview today about the decision to join AEW instead of NXT. And a quote from it, he goes on to say, "I've never made money with my dad and my brother. I've made a lot of money with Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors." So he's essentially probably making more money than he was offered because he was offered a lowball NXT contract. And he's already 2-0. They're already having a match at the upcoming pay-per-view. He would not have gotten that treatment in NXT. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I genuinely feel that that is the case. And another thing that I want to point out, over by Follow the Revolution, this was his post, so credit goes to him, but I wanted to share with you guys because I've been talking about this plenty of times on my channel, but a visual really helps. Look at that. All of these are wrestlers in AEW that are under the age of 30 or at the age of 30. Look at that. That is a lot. And you want to know something common that all of them have? They are featured basically weekly, either on Dynamite or Collision, or at least in ROH. They aren't sitting behind in catering. They aren't getting mistreated like Rusev is, going back to WWE and literally just getting chumped out week in, week out, not winning anything. Same goes with Aleister Black. I know he said that he thinks that this return has been very positive. I completely disagree. I think he hasn't done anything significant. But look at this. You got MJF, Fletcher, Bandito, Takeshita, Kevin Knight. Was that Mystico? I can't tell because the image is small. Jack Perry, and the list goes on. Look at all of those people. And yes, for those men, pretty much all of them are featured weekly. And then going down to the women, all of them are essentially featured weekly or very damn close to it, or at least in ROH. That is how I know for a fact they are building young stars so much better than WWE. Dustin Rhodes commented further on his healing. Said he's ready to use this as a weapon. My dad had the bionic elbow. I have the bionic knees. I'm coming for everybody. Showing an image of the metal that he has in his knees now after having double knee replacement. And I last covered him saying that he's just a few weeks out from being ready. I think we'll see him return maybe on 0 Hour for Revolution. He makes like some fun return at some point, maybe doing something, not quite sure. Or we see him return on the show after Revolution on either Dynamite or Collision. I cannot wait to see the natural Dustin Rhodes back in the ring. Moxley, Yuta, and Garcia are set to challenge Sky Team for CMLL World Trios Championships in Arena, Mexico on March 20th. They are doing very well with the CMLL partnership, very well with how they're handling ROH. They're doing really well with the New Japan signings. AEW is doing so well in 2026. Last year in 2025, they had a really good start. I might think that 2026 is even better. And lastly, but certainly not least, big update on Will Ospreay. He's taking steps toward an in-ring return. Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful has learned Ospreay has been working out in the ring ahead of AEW shows, and optimism is building for a potential spring return. It's March, people. Spring is right around the corner. Holy shit, I cannot wait to see the aerial assassin back in the ring. I think that he likely returns at Double or Nothing. I think that's where we're going to see him maybe do some huge return at Double or Nothing in May, because that is spring. And so maybe the show closes out with whoever's champ at the time, and then you hear Will Ospreay's music hit. He comes out in the ring and makes it straightforward, says that he's coming for the title. That's all I had in this episode of Screw the Script. Let me know down below what you think about my claim as to why I feel like Revolution is being built so much better than WrestleMania. Let me know what your favorite match and moments were from this past Dynamite. Let me know which match you're most excited for coming up on Revolution this Sunday. And anything else that you want to talk about down in the comments. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.